Now come along and listen to us talk with the Bond Jam. Go and have a lovely little walk with the Bond Jam. Maybe put it on and go to bed with the Bond Jam. Or grab yourself a slice of toast and spread with the Bond Jam.
Hello and welcome to Bond Jam with me, Simon Jeffrey, and I'm joined by the kissy to my pussy. It's Mr. James Turner.
I knew you were going to be inventive with it. I just didn't know how. But yeah, bravo.
I was going down a list of names for ideas, and I came up with that, and I thought, no, I can't do that. And then I thought, I'm not going to find better than that. I just hope people understand. How are you, James?
I'm good. I'm raring to go on this one. I think it feels like it's been too long, as always. But
always, all the usual banter about we must get these done more often. I take that as read. What are we talking about today, James?
Today we're doing the best and worst Bond girls or Bond women of the franchise.
As you've sort of touched upon, James, there is a little controversy in just the name of the episode itself. Are they Bond girls, Bond women?
Yeah.
We're going to stick with Bond girls because it's controversial, if nothing else. Hopefully we get a few clicks just for people to leave a comment.
We get comments?
Well, maybe this will be the first. But what I think is important before we begin our conversation about best and worst is to define what a Bond girl is.
And you're going to leave that to me, aren't you? Great.
Because I think what we can safely say is a Bond girl is not simply any female character in a Bond film.
No. I think for me, and I'm sure yourself as well, as sees the Bond girl as the person who helps Bond out and is there throughout the mission as a female protagonist of the film. Whereas somebody like perhaps Moneypenny, for example, I see more as an ally than a Bond girl.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's difficult because to some degree, Moneypenny's had more of a romantic relationship with Bond in various films than some of the quote-unquote main Bond girls, particularly in Daniel Craig's films like Camille, for instance. But what if I just read to you from the Bond girl Wikipedia and you tell me if you agree with their definition of a Bond girl? Yeah. So, a Bond girl is a character who is a love interest, female companion, or occasionally an adversary of James Bond in novel, film, or video game.
I think I agree in part, but sometimes that could also describe someone like Zenyatta or Electra King. They are villains to me more than they are a Bond girl.
Well, I think it is possible to be in more than one category.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you can be an ally and a Bond woman. I think you can be a villain and a Bond woman. But I think what seems to separate them from female characters who wouldn't fit that category seems to be the love interest part. Or at least the sort of romantic involvement, right? I mean, if it's simply a female colleague or ally, they're not a Bond girl or a Bond woman. I mean, I suppose the term is slightly kind of possessive almost, like they belong to Bond. Not in a sort of creepy or sinister way, but it implies a relationship or a connection or at least a sexual encounter, perhaps. The Wikipedia goes on to describe the various recurring traits of the Bond women within the Fleming novels, and it's shockingly specific. It's talking about the spacing of their eyes and the mouths and the colour of their eyes and the amount or lack of makeup that they all tend to wear and their nails being short and not with polish and things like that. It seems to me very much like this is Fleming's type just recurring again and again.
Yeah.
He liked women a certain way, so Bond must like women a certain way. It's probably a good thing we've moved away from the slightly narrow view that the Fleming novels portrayed into a more diverse set of women across the films.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But later on in the Wikipedia, there's a list of Bond women per film, and I can't say I agree with every single one, but I did use it as the basis of my shortlist for.
Yeah, I have to admit I did have a look at that, and like you say, some of them I don't really categorise as a Bond girl.
No, because they've got this spreadsheet in the Wikipedia page where it lists the film, and then alongside that, the sexual partners, what it classes as the main sidekick, the femme fatale, and sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And I don't have any issue with classing various ones of these Bond women to some degree or another. I mean, Jill Masterson in Goldfinger is surely a Bond girl of sorts because they have a romantic encounter. I'm not sure Tilly is. She's listed as a sacrificial lamb. Maybe in the early days, the very fact that they're a woman, an attractive female in a Bond film means they are a Bond girl. That's probably how they were branded and marketed at the very least.
Well, I know, and I mean, you look at The Man with the Golden Gun, and you see Chu Mi being shown as a Bond girl, and it's like she's got one line in the entire film, and she appears one time in the entire film.
Well, On Her Majesty's Secret Service lists Irma Bunt as a femme fatale.
Okay.
I mean, I think femme fatale is a strange one because it's a sort of trope of fiction, but to me that implies the kind of deadly beauty, a kind of dangerous, deceptive or disloyal woman who maybe works by seduction and then betrayal, that kind of thing. Not just an out and out thug or a villain. I mean, Irma Bunt's gender is neither here nor there. She's just a villain.
Yeah.
She's not a femme fatale. No. So yeah, I did use the list as reference, but I definitely disagree with some of them. I mean, I'm sure somewhere else in the article it lists Judi Dench as M as a Bond girl. Now you tell me, is Judi Dench as M a Bond girl or woman?
Ally all the way for me.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is just take it in turns to pick what we consider to be some of our better and some of our worse Bond women from the series. James, do you want to start with one of your picks for what you consider one of the good ones?
I'm just debating which one to start off with.
What is it that you look for?
I look for somebody who is equal to Bond. I think somebody who can hold their own. They're not just a damsel in distress for the film. I'm going to start off strong, I think. And I'm going to say Octopussy.
Okay.
For me, Octopussy, this is obviously Maud Adams that plays Octopussy. She's been in Bond before, and she was played a much different character in The Man with the Golden Gun when she played Andrea Anders, whereas Octopussy is a much stronger character. I believe the relationship between her and Bond is more genuine, and I really like that relationship that they have with each other. And I think as the leader of this travelling circus that she has, I think she's a strong character as well as, and that's why she's my pick for one of my favourite Bond girls.
It's a good pick. I did consider her. And what I like about her is that she stands her ground against his quite judgmental attitude at times.
Yeah.
She doesn't allow herself to be belittled by him.
And she's also the only one, obviously, when you've got the bomb scene, Bond is at a loss because nobody will believe that there's a bomb in this canon. And she's the only one that takes it upon herself at risk of exposing her operation. She reveals the bomb. She saves the day, technically.
Yeah, and I like the fact that she has the ability to take charge and to inspire a big group of allies as well.
Yeah. I don't think there's much else I can really say.
No, I don't want to spend the entire episode just going, well done. Well done. You didn't let yourself get pushed around. In the previous episodes when we've talked about allies or villains, we've talked about characterization, performance, individual specific scenes, not just about, whether or not they were strong. Strong leading lady, those terms will surely become kind of outdated and a bit cringe in the future when that just becomes a kind of, well, obviously sort of conversational thing. The very fact that the focus of a lot of our discussion could well end up being, are they portrayed strongly? Are they portrayed as Bond's equal or capable of handling themselves? Is a very valid conversation, but it's almost sad that it has to be so much of the conversation.
Yeah,
and we can't simply go, you know what, I really like her because I like her outfits, or I like the way she delivers the lines.
Yeah.
It is something that at the time in 1983 was a big step towards, a more progressive, stronger female character than we'd had previously.
Yeah.
She also comes across, as much as they weren't at all the same age, she comes across as a mature counterpart to Roger in one of his later outings.
Yeah, I agree. She's not like some really, really young girl, even though she is, like you say, there's a bigger age difference, but she does, like you say, is more mature and feels more in line with Roger's age, even though she is.
Yeah, and I think that's because the relationship is portrayed maturely
Yes,
as well.
yeah,
It's not just about age, it's about their respect of each other.
Yeah.
Good pick, James.
Thanks.
It's interesting that you say about what you look for is for them to be an equal to Bond, because at various times over the series, in the promotion leading up to a movie, various actresses and actors have been on press junkets advertising their upcoming film and really trying to sell the fact that their character is for once an equal to Bond.
Yes, yeah.
But they've been doing that for decades.
Yeah.
And it always sort of makes my heart sink a little bit, because I just sort of think, oh come on. Like, there have been quote unquote Bond equals for ages. But what that usually amounts to is just kind of giving their character the same job to do as Bond in the film.
Yes, yeah.
And while they're perfectly capable of doing those jobs, you've already got a character doing those jobs in the film. So, all my picks are not going to be like, the ones who could kick ass just like Bond.
Yeah.
The ones who can shoot a gun just as accurately as Bond, or who can beat up guys just as hard as Bond can.
Sometimes I think it's also bringing a new skill set that Bond can't do.
Well, exactly. Yeah. They are quite often like experts in another field, and Bond needs them for something that he can't do. And I like those characters too. Yeah. I like the nuclear physicists, or the wow, that was an interesting choice, but the computer experts, or whatever else it may be. But I'm going to pick my first one, which is one of the few Bond women that were kind of sold as a real Bond equal. That I'm one of the examples I think works best at that, which is Wei Lin.
Okay, yeah.
Because I remember they said the same thing for Jinx in Die Another Day, and they've probably said it since for others. But whereas Jinx, I think, was like a little bit like what I just described, where it's just like anything Bond can do, she can do.
Yeah.
Wei Lin is Bond's equal in terms of action prowess and all that stuff, arguably more so in certain areas, but in a very different way. And their sort of humorous one-upmanship throughout, it's charmingly and kind of playfully done. And Michelle Yeoh's had a sort of resurgence lately in her Oscar-winning roles. I think she's always great, but that was my first introduction to her when I was younger. I just thought, even as a 10-year-old watching Tomorrow Never Dies, I knew Wei Lin was cool and special amongst the group.
Yeah.
I don't think their romance is particularly convincing, but I don't think it needs to be.
It's only that seems to come towards the end, isn't it? And it doesn't feel like it was necessary.
No, I think the sort of Lost at Sea kind of romantic scene that the film ends with is a throwback to earlier movies that did similar things.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think a more modern film in the series, they would probably choose to skip that scene and think it weren't necessary. And it probably wasn't necessary. They kind of encounter each other and cross paths, and it's hinted perhaps their missions may not even be the same as each other, but they're in danger of getting in each other's way at times when they're on they're on separate missions, and then they both get captured, and it's in their interest to work together. But it wasn't sort of written on the wall from the beginning that that's how it would end up. It kind of comes together quite naturally.
Yeah. To be honest, I imagined you would pick Wei Lin. So no, good choice. Shall we move on to my next one?
Do you have another good one?
Yeah, okay. I imagine you've got this person as well, but I've chosen Tracy from On Her Majesty's Secret Service as being up there. And much like Octopussy, I think her success as a Bond girl is down to how the relationship between her and Bond is portrayed, and how realistic that relationship is. So the whole montage, I love the montage sequence, we have all the time in the world sequence that we see. and it annoys me that she's cut out of a lot of the film for the Piz Glory scenes. I understand why and things like that, but when she re-emerges, it's like a breath of fresh air. She's back again, and we see that relationship blossom even more. And as the wife of the soon to be wife of Bond in that film, I think she's the best candidate that could be, really, for in terms of the historical context of her relationship with Bond. I think she's deserving of that.
Yeah, she was on my list as well.
Yeah, and she rescues Bond in a moment where Bond is in real deep trouble when he's escaping Piz Gloria.
Yeah,
she
they
appears,
rescue each other at various points.
Yeah.
And it's a great example of a Bond girl who doesn't fulfill the same role as Bond as you described earlier, who's not a Bond equal physically.
No.
Who is outmatched in situations where Bond wouldn't be. And when we meet her in the film, has sort of emotional distress and mental issues before Bond even encounters her that elicit sympathy and develop her as an actual person before being an object of lust or affection.
Yeah.
When Bond first meets her, she's in need of rescuing, but that doesn't stay the dynamic throughout. And in fact, it gets flipped on its head.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do agree, though. When she disappears, it's a shame, and I think it's more of a shame that he doesn't remain faithful during that time, I suppose, in a kind of eye-rolling, typical 1969 kind of worldview.
Yeah.
It's to be expected, but it does rather undo the effect of that lovely falling in love montage.
Yeah.
And Diana Rigg is brilliant as well. She brings a sort of rock-solid, confident portrayal that I think is definitely needed alongside George Lazenby to kind of bolster the kind of star power of that movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to count that as my second pick as well, by the way.
Okay. We'll do that. We'll do a joint one for that one then.
Because I don't have another one.
But you have one more though.
Oh, I have another one.
Yeah.
But I don't have enough. If that doesn't count as one of mine, then I don't have enough, really.
Okay. Well, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll go for my last
Yeah.
one. We sort of swap places then. I'm going to go for Kara from The Living Daylights.
I had a feeling you might say her as well.
You're nodding. I don't know. A lot of my picks seem to just be like, I like that film, so I'll pick that one.
Yeah.
And I do think over the years, I've given her a lot of kind of goodwill and grace when it comes to her character specifically, simply because I'm a big fan of the movie. And I guess I could anticipate some of the complaints that you might have about her.
But I think your feelings towards Cara are very similar to both of our feelings towards Tracy as well, whereas Cara's not an equal to Bond, but the relationship that she has with Bond is warmly portrayed. And
I don't think Bond doesn't need her kind of emotionally in the same way that he needed Tracy. But I do like that she plays a part in the plot.
Yes, yeah.
And she's sort of mixed up in this conspiracy. And much of the story is about him realizing that and her realizing exactly who has betrayed her and used her at various points and whose allegiances she should or shouldn't trust. And as such, she does have a sort of deer in the headlights kind of look at various points. But that feels real in that sense. It feels real that someone who is really just a civilian would act kind of frozen by fear and confusion and uncertainty in those moments and just be like, what is going on? Who are you? What is all of this? I don't know. I feel like she seems real. Just her inclusion, it brings Bond out of that sort of fantasy realm of, being surrounded by evil megalomaniacs in volcanoes and beautiful women who just sort of lie around sunning themselves all day and stuff. And it's this real person who lives in a city and who gets the tram to work and who plays a cello in an orchestra and stuff, and who happens to have been recruited into this kind of plot to aid a defector. And It's nice to see Bond up, like at street level on public transport.
Yeah,
following this woman along. Who is this person? She's suspicious. I like the look of her. I'm not going to kill her, Saunders, despite what you say.
But no, the fact that you're saying that, it's never actually dawned on me the civilian nature of her. But like you say, yeah, she's just an ordinary person caught up in the middle of it all, and I agree with you for that.
I feel like I did once kind of categorize the different types of Bond women into various groups, like a Bond equal or an agent for another country or department, an expert in another field.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole group of what I would have classed as sort of kept women or prisoners of a villain.
Yes.
But I think I probably overlooked the sort of civilian caught up in the mess category.
Yeah. There's not many. There's not many.
Maybe that's what makes it interesting and sort of different to me. Is you could say she is caught up. She is a villain, or she at the very least is an accessory to a plot that Bond is trying to stop. But she is sort of ignorant to a lot of it. She's been promised one reality by Georgi Koskov and Brad Whitaker. That's they've used her for
their own benefit.
For their own benefit.
Yeah, no, I've never been that big of a fan of Cara, but to be honest, your fight for best Bond girl, or up there as the best, has won me over.
I would have anticipated your response to be, she's a bit whingy at times,
yes,
or a bit helpless at times.
But yeah,
but I suppose I'm just thinking, does she act like a normal person might act in those situations?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I guess. You could point at scenes like in the Prater Park scene in Vienna when she's all starry-eyed and falling fast and hard for Bond, and she even admits like she's just kind of confused about how is it that I've only just met you and all I can think of is how we would be together. And you could choose to view that critically and say, look, she's pathetic, she's just like meets him and instantly falls in love.
Yeah.
But firstly, people do wear their heart on the sleeves like that, and people do fall in love quickly and easily and under unusual and stressful situations. If someone enters their life and represents kind of confidence and safety in that moment, then it's almost certainly going to create that attraction. But I would also say that's exactly why they would have chosen her, because she has that personality and that temperament.
Yeah.
I no doubt Koskov convinced her just as easily and wooed her just as convincingly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it's very much within keeping with their character that she would be confused and attracted to Bond and sort of live her life with her heart on her sleeves in the same way. It's sort of, in a sad kind of way, exactly what made her the perfect victim to be used in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you've even made me want to watch the film again now. So yeah, argument well fought, I'd say. Next time I watch that film, I might see it in a completely different light.
Well, if you don't, that's no harm, no foul.
Yeah. We'll see when we get to the Living Daylights episode in 5 years' time.
That's ambitious. But, if I haven't convinced you, then that's not a problem either, It's good to disagree sometimes.
Yeah, well, you'll probably disagree with my next one.
Go on, let's have it.
Okay, so this one's going to be controversial. I'm not chosen her because I think she stands out amongst the other Bond girls, but I've chosen her because of the amount of hate she gets in a lot of critic reviews of the film.
Okay, I have a hunch.
And so the reason why I've chosen it is mainly because this is a character I think a lot of people would put on their worst list, and I think she's not deserving of that at all. And that person is Dr. Christmas Jones. Okay, so bear with me. If you're listening, don't just tune out because you disagree with it. Let me just hear me out for this one. Okay, so a lot of the criticism that she gets, I look at and I think you're missing the whole point of that character, or why that character is the way she is. And I mean, I was actually looked on Rotten Tomatoes today, just seeing what the people said, and a lot of the reviews point to her as being the weakest part of the film. There's people saying like Denise Richards has been cast as arguably the worst Bond girl in the entire franchise. She doesn't look the part, and I think that's the worst thing. I think the fact that she doesn't look the part. So, in the defense of Dr. Christmas Jones, nuclear physicist, a lot of people say she's not believable as a nuclear physicist. Oh, she's not how a nuclear physicist would look. To me, that's a sexist point. Just because she's an attractive human being, does that mean she doesn't fit the stereotypical nuclear physicist that we expect? We first introduced to her in a desert area, probably boiling hot. She's wearing a hazmat suit, doing some nuclear physicist stuff. And then obviously she has to take that off, and she's in like a tank top and short shorts. I mean, she's in the middle of a desert. What else is she going to wear? She's not going to come out with a jumper underneath. I mean, if I was in there, I'd be wearing just my undies as well if it was that hot. So, I mean, why are you judging a character just by the fact that she's wearing a tank top and shorts underneath a hazmat suit in a desert?
I totally agree. I've said the same, I think, in the past, that if your argument against Denise Richards as Christmas Jones rests solely on she doesn't look like a nuclear physicist, I'd just say, get the hell out. Like, what does a nuclear physicist look like?
Yeah.
Are you saying there's something inherent about her looks that prevent her from being capable of achieving such a degree?
Yeah.
Go on. Dig yourself a deeper hole.
Yeah.
I think it's become one of those things that's just such an oft-repeated opinion that lazy journalists and list writers just recycle each other's opinions on it. You know.
Yeah. I think it's something that catches on, and people then just go, "Oh yeah, she's not believable."
I'm sure they just sort of research each other and go like, "Oh, where did these people put it? Where did this people put it?" And after a while, you're just recycling someone else's opinion, and you just say, "Stop and think," because there's a good chance your opinion was formed 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You can argue all you want about the nature of her performance, but if your argument is just she doesn't look like a physicist, then your argument is over before it started.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things that annoys me about the criticisms. And then there's like, oh, she's just a damsel in distress. She gets captured and Bond has to rescue her from the submarine and stuff like that. But she also saves Bond's life. If it wasn't for her, Bond would be like a frazzled corpse in a bunker if she didn't open the door. She helps disarm. Well, she does disarm the nuclear bomb that's in the pipeline, but Bond obviously tells her to let it blow anyway. But she was able to do that. She's got the skills, as we mentioned before, the skills that Bond doesn't have in order to do things that, he wouldn't be able to do. I don't understand that argument in terms of that she's just there to look pretty. Now, I get a lot of the criticism that she's in a film with Elektra King, who starts off as the main Bond girl and then is essentially the villain of the piece. But that's a character that's more complex in a different way. She's gonna be more of an interesting character because she's a villain. Now you could say, you could make more of a backstory for Christmas Jones and stuff like that, but I think that would be overcomplicating things. And I think for the role that character plays of Christmas Jones, I think she fits the film exactly as it should.
I don't think anyone would speculate that her and Bond had a future together. I don't think that's ever what they're trying to insinuate.
No.
But I like the fact that she just says, look, I just want to know what's the deal with you and Elektra.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what our relationship's going to become. Maybe it'll be something romantic at some point, but like, just keep me up to date.
Yeah.
It's not many other characters I remember ever doing that. Just sort of checking the temperature of the room before proceeding in a relationship. Just going, look, before I get any further into this, what's the deal with you and her? And it's not out of jealousy. It's just, I mean, I don't see it as that.
No, I see it as wanting to know the full story. Well, just so she knows what she's getting into in terms of the mission at hand, maybe.
Yeah, just so I don't make the wrong assumptions, don't expect anything, or don't let my guard down, or don't get hurt by any of this.
Exactly. And now, as I said, I'm not choosing her because I think she is anything different than any other Bond girl or anything like that, but I'm picking her just because I want to highlight the fact that I think there's a lot of negativity about a character that I think doesn't deserve it.
No, I'm glad you did. I considered doing the same.
Oh, that's good.
And actually, you do get reviews that will just say, she's one of the weakest she's the weakest Bond girl to date in the series.
Mm.
She's not.
No.
she's just not. And we'll get onto probably some of the contenders for that. She's not the best, but she's definitely not the worst. And I do think there's an element of her portrayal, particularly in contrast to Sophie Marceau as Electra King, who's shown in ball gowns and very ornate, expensive-looking clothing a lot of the time. And she's shown portrayed very sophisticatedly. And as you say, Christmas Jones appears in a hazmat suit with a kind of hot pants and crop top underneath, which, as you say, can be justified practically. I'm sure it was designed with every intention of being sexy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's very reminiscent of something Laura Croft would wear.
And I think her appearance is deliberately sexual. Like she is portrayed proudly sexual in her dress sense, in her, the way that she presents herself. And there's definitely been a kind of school of thought that someone couldn't be so outwardly sexy and sexual and still be respected as an intellectual or a capable physicist in her case. I think it's time we ended the lazy criticism of Dr. Christmas Jones.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's 3 for 3, isn't it? So
yeah.
And since we touched upon, the critics that say Christmas Jones is the worst, and we both definitively disagree with that, but why don't you start us off with one of your picks for what you consider might be on the list of the worst of the Bond women?
I don't know whether to start with the obvious or something that someone just grinds my gears. I'm going to go for one that I don't know if you might have said it or you're going to say it. I'm going to go with Madeleine Swann.
Yep, that's on my list. I think this is an important one.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's important to bring her up because of you could compare her to maybe someone like Tracy, and they're very contrasting to me, those two characters. So, with Madeleine Swann, she first appears in Spectre, and to be honest, she probably wouldn't be on this list if she didn't reappear.
Yeah.
Because I would have seen Madeleine Swann in Spectre and just gone, yeah, she's just your standard Bond girl, and she's all right. She's all right, she's fine. But her appearance in No Time to Die puts more emphasis on her and her importance to Bond and the franchise as a whole, I think. And putting all that on a character that I didn't really care about in the last film makes me hate her more. Because it's nothing to do with the way she's, I don't know, maybe it's to do with the way she's portrayed, but I just feel like, this is the person who has a kid with Bond.
Yeah. And
for me, is ultimately responsible for James Bond's death. Because of all that and all the controversy of No Time to Die, I can't help but dislike the character because I don't think she has the same relationship that I believed in with Tracy in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, or even Vesper in Casino Royale. I didn't believe that relationship was significant enough that this character should play this important of a role in No Time to Die.
Yeah, I'm going to do that thing again where I claim this is my first pick as well.
Okay.
And I think we could talk about this at length, but I'll just sort of say briefly the summary. And you've pretty much described it. And it's the contrast between the significance of the role that she is given and the effectiveness of her impact in the films that she's in, and the impact of the effectiveness of her emotionally. And I don't buy it. Chemistry I don't really feel between the two of them. But more than that, I feel like, whereas we touched on with Tracy and others that they need each other.
Yeah.
I don't really get the sense that Bond needs her.
No.
Beyond him saying that he does, I don't feel like he does. No Time to Die tried to sort of draw comparisons with Vesper, who Bond knew for a very short time, but had a significant impact on his life because it sort of taught him to be less emotionally open and kind of quick to fall in love, I suppose. But it is a bit strange, I think, just because of the amount of time between those films, that he would still be kind of lost and
Yes.
pining for her.
Yeah.
He knew her probably a fortnight in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he would
Yeah.
have forgotten her, but I don't know if he'd be, 50 or so, saying, I miss you from when I was 35 and from when I knew that time. And it almost felt like that scene was him asking permission from her to fall in love again.
Yeah. It seemed that
And
way.
it's like you keep pulling these comparisons with, like, No Time to Die used the All the Time in the World music, and it's like you're trying to draw a parallel here. And
Yes,
that
yeah.
highlight is not doing you any favors.
No, I think it's worse that they're trying to draw that comparison. Actually, it's clearly meant to evoke Tracy.
I just think that whereas Bond and Tracy needed each other, Madeline is just kind of portrayed as a victim in need of rescuing.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah,
who
yeah.
was brought up by a criminal, who lived in that life and had to escape it. But she just seems so devoid of joy and charisma
Yeah,
and energy. Her scenes just seem kind of sleepy and weary, and
yeah. No, you're right. Yeah,
just the thought of her just tires me out. I won't go as far as actively blame Léa Seydoux for any issues with it.
no.
Let's just go to say the importance that was imbued upon that character was not matched by the emotional effectiveness or the portrayal or the chemistry between her and Bond. I didn't buy it.
No.
And the film greatly depended on me buying it, and I didn't.
Yeah, I think you're right. It does depend on you investing in her as a character and Bond's relationship with her. And yeah, I say if that doesn't work, the film doesn't work.
Right, so is that my number 2? Shall I swap now and do?
Yeah.
That was my number
go
1.
on.
I'll do my number 2.
Yeah.
I've got Jinx staring right at me. I just don't know if I can be bothered.
Jinx is a poor man's Wailing.
I'm going to skip that, and I'm going to go to Mary Goodnight.
Well, I said I've got an obvious choice. That was my obvious choice.
We touched upon her
Yeah.
in The Man with the Golden Gun, so we won't repeat ourselves too much. But suffice to say that, as we said in that episode, her very introduction into the film stops Bond from doing what he's trying to do. She literally blocks him in while he's giving chase.
Yeah.
And from that point onwards, she just seems to cause more trouble than she solves.
Yeah.
The film at one point seems to have resolved itself. They have managed to get the Solex agitator, and
All is good.
all is good. And then she gets herself kidnapped through her own fault, and she just seems to constantly, be pressing the wrong button with her backside and dropping her foot in it. And it's like, come on. I mean, with all these cases, I don't blame Britt Eklund at all, but it's a terribly written part.
Yeah.
I mean, what more do you need me to say, James?
Well, I think, to be honest, the thing is, we've talked at length about Mary Goodnight in the Man with the Golden Gun episodes a few episodes back. And I think we've said everything we need to say about her. But yeah, like you say, I absolutely agree. It's it is her incompetence, her uselessness, if you could say
Yeah.
that.
As I say, the Bond women don't need to be able to do what Bond does.
No.
They just need to be able to do something,
Yeah.
or to behave like how a human might behave.
If I was to put a list together, I think for me, Mary Goodnight might actually be the bottom of that list.
Mind you, she's not built up to be as important to the plot as Madeline Swan, so you could argue that her comparative failure is less of an issue.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That was a short one, but I don't feel
yeah,
the need to say
no.
anymore. Have you got another one, James?
Yeah, I mean, I had Jinx on my list as well as.
Do you want to talk about Jinx? Should we share it?
Okay, we'll share it.
Let's just start by saying this is not a unanimous, universal opinion on Jinx. She is hugely popular among some people.
Oh yeah.
So why is it that we both have issues here?
I think it's because for me, Jinx's introduction is where the film falls apart. And I don't know if it's purely Jinx's fault. In fact, it's not really purely Jinx's fault. But you know what? I don't even think I could put a finger on it. I think it's her dialogue that she has is a bit poor, or very poor.
I was going to say, I think the fault has to lie with the script and the direction. It's not a good script.
No.
The dialogue is poor in Die Another Day.
Yeah. I mean, who sent you? Your mama. And I'm like, come on, is this the best you can do?
Yeah.
But
and it's not the best Halle Berry can do either, which is sad because it's nothing against her either. In all of these cases, it's like these people have been shortchanged a little bit by the character. I think it's just all a bit much. It's just all a bit too many quips, too many jokes, too many kind of. She seems to just sort of be tonally at odds with the rest of the film, or like Bond is in one film and she's in another, and every now and then they crash into each other.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
it feels like they were trying a bit too hard.
Yeah, and like you say, it's down to the script, I think.
I don't know what they were trying to do, but they were trying too hard to do it.
Yeah. So I did have one more.
I've lost count. So
I did Madeline's one.
One more each, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we've got. Yeah, we shared Madeline's one.
We sort of shared Mary Goodnight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not much to say about the person I'm going to say anyway for the last one.
Go on.
I had Ruby Bartlett.
Okay, you've gone for one of the sort of secondary ones.
Yeah, and the only reason I've chosen it is because of how I really enjoyed Tracy's relationship with Bond, and then they throw it all away.
Yeah,
and for me, she's just a bit weird. I know there's the whole chicken fantasy thing. It ruins what was a good relationship with Tracy, and it sours it for me.
You're going to throw all of what you had away, Bond, for that?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
For weird chicken lady? You don't have a future with her. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Keep it in your kilt for a few more days and you'll be back home. What are you doing?
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I can really say about it, really.
No, that's fair. I mean, what more can you say? Shall I just briefly touch upon the ones I have left highlighted in red?
Yeah.
So I've got Tiffany Case highlighted red. And I don't know if that's entirely fair, because when I highlighted it, I was picturing that scene where she's like yelling obnoxiously at the gas station. But actually, I think she's doing that deliberately to distract. I think by the end, she has sort of lost much of her intrigue that she starts with.
For me, she is she's a better version of Mary Goodnight, because towards the end she messes up switching the tapes and things like that, and it's the sort of thing that essentially leads to what we get with Mary Goodnight. But she also has she does good things as well. When first introduced to her, you are like she's got this intrigue to her,
genuinely intriguing.
Yeah.
Isn't she? I feel bad for highlighting. I'm gonna recant that one. It was worth saying, worth touching.
Yeah, no, I did consider her, but she wasn't on my list.
I'm going to opt for Kissy instead, then.
Oh, okay, right.
A Bond woman so disposable from a narrative point of view that the film doesn't even bother giving her a name in the film until the credits.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this in our You Only Live Twice
Yes,
episode,
we did, yeah.
That the film would be drastically improved by simply keeping Aki alive and letting that relationship develop.
Mm.
But we know the reasons for it. Roald Dahl was told, you should have 3 women. One should die in Bond's arms early on. The other should betray him and then die. And the last one should end up with him. But it's like he ran out of ideas and was just like, oh, I don't know. I guess just another woman. I suppose she helps to some degree. She helps to go find the ninja army and whatnot. But she doesn't leave much of an impression beyond that.
No.
But you know what? I was looking down this list and I was trying to think of like who are the best, and I realized the bad ones are easy to pick. But I like most of them.
Yeah.
Like, for various reasons. Like, I don't dislike some of them, even if they are useless. I don't dislike Stacey Sutton that much.
I think Stacey Sutton's a common one is the popular worst Bond girl choice. And no, I like Stacey more than most people probably would.
I don't dislike Camille from Quantum of Solace.
No.
I quite like that it's something different. And
Yeah.
they at one point intended to bring her back, which would have been interesting in a parallel universe. But,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, there you go. That was a good discussion. Don't know
Yeah.
if we reached any conclusion, but I think we're quite like-minded on some of these.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we haven't strayed into any hot water. I know as we're recording this, we've recently had International Women's Day, and I hope that as two men judging these women, this is not in any way controversial.
We're gonna get
But
taken
we'll be
down.
back, I'm sure, with more best and worst episodes from throughout the series. So if there's anywhere else that we can tread the line,
Yeah. Any topics? Let's do it.
any controversial issues we can broach on the subject. Right, there you go. That was the best and worst Bond girls. Let's play games with James.
Games with James.
So, James, if you remember back in episode 20, our villains episode, I did a Games with James, which was guess the Bond villain actor based on an interview clip.
Yes, I do remember that. Some that are like, oh, that was so obvious, and I still didn't get it. And I
Yeah, I'm
feel
not sure
like,
how you.
Yeah,
My favourite was when you heard Christopher Lee speaking in German.
and I guessed it sounded like Christopher Lee. And
You know, well, that sounds a bit like Christopher Lee doing a foreign accent. Anyway, I don't know who it is. So, well, I've done the same again.
Okay.
James. There's no point hiding. This is the guess the Bond woman by the interview of the actor.
Okay.
To make it slightly easier on you, James, I have only picked from the the main Bond women of the series. There's no
Okay, so that makes it a bit
Miss
more, more
Tarot
obscure.
and
Yeah.
Cigar Girls or anyone in here. You're looking
Okay.
for, if I were to say who is the main Bond girl from this movie,
Yeah.
the answer would be the list I've taken from here.
Okay.
Secondly, I should say I've only picked actresses who use their own voices
Okay.
in the movie.
That's interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah. How much is it out of?
12.
12. Okay.
So-
let's go for 12 out of 12.
So, what I'm going to need before we begin, James, is a sound that we can play if and when you get one of these questions correct.
Oh, James.
Lovely. Was that Octopussy?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. That was meant to be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And now, could I have a sound for if and when you get a question wrong?
Oh, James.
Lovely. A bit of poetry there. They rhyme. It's like it's like George Lucas says. Okay, so if you're ready, James, would you mind going ahead and listening to clip number 1 in that folder?
Okay.
Did I ever tell you about the first judo class I ever went
No.
to? Well, I fondly imagined that it was going to be a private lesson, And I went down these steps in Panton Street to the gym, and the smell.
Oh, God.
Okay. So I'm quite confident with this one. This sounds like Honor Blackman. Oh, James.
That is correct, James.
Yeah.
Well done. I wanted to get you some points on the board early on, so I'm glad you got that one.
That's good then.
I must warn you, they aren't all that easy.
I was like, oh, this is a doddle. This one.
Right. Okay. Well done, James. You're off the mark with number 1.
Okay.
Clip number 2.
Alors, c'est bizarre parce que la première fois que je suis allée à Los Angeles, c'était pour trouver un agent après les Dreamers. Et c'est une ville quand même où quelquefois, quand on est acteur, on se sent un peu... comment dire, on se dit, est-ce que ça va, est-ce que je suis hot, est-ce que ma carrière n'est pas en train de partir en vrille, est-ce que oui, on se dit pas, alors attends.
Okay. Right. Well, it sounds French. So then that narrows it down to which French Bond women are out there. There's not many. So I'm kind of putting it down to Carole Bouquet. I think she might be French, but that sounds too new. So I'm going to go with Sophie Marceau. Oh, James.
That is incorrect, James.
No.
That was Eva Green
Oh, of course.
as Vesper Lynd.
Today's not going to be the day where I get them all right.
Today was never going to be the day.
What should we get 11 out of 12 now?
Well, if you got 11 out of 12, I'll be incredibly impressed.
Okay.
So, let's see how you do with clip number 3.
Oh, very, very. I mean, it was all about manners and how to hold your knife and fork and which glass to drink out of. And we had to courtesy. And my father, I mean, if I was looking like this now, forget it.
Now, she's got a bit of an accent, I feel, with a bit of an Americanism to it as well as. So, I don't know who that could possibly be. I'm going to go with, is this Bella, however you pronounce the surname, Scorpoco, whatever, from Natalia from GoldenEye. Oh, James.
No, it is not, James.
It's gonna kill me now. What is it? Go on.
That is Britt Eklund as
What?
Very Good Night.
No way.
Okay, let's have clip number 4.
4.
James.
Okay.
Another week passed and they called back and they said, hey, 95%, you've got it, but we're not making the announcement yet. Fine. Another week went by and they said, you know, we'd like her to come in and, you know, just sit there and talk with us as she did when she came in. And we'll put it on film. Then we'll match her up with the other girls, kind of like a personality test.
This is hard.
I know. At least with some of these quizzes, I've thought they were going to be really easy and then you struggled, but I kind of knew this one was quite tricky.
But she sounds familiar. That's the annoying thing. It's. I know. I'm hearing it back now. It's Anya. It's Barbara Bach. Oh, James.
That is correct,
Yes,
James.
come
Well
on.
done.
It's that. Yeah. The way she said another week went by. The way she said it.
You can hear it even without the accent that she has in That's Why I Love Me.
Yeah.
Well done, James.
Oh, there we go.
Clip number 5.
I'm not going to say my mother never threw a party, but I have no memory of ever having a birthday party. And as I surely became an adult, I've never had a birthday party. And now that I'm approaching a big birthday, everybody I know is saying, now's the year to have a birthday party. You got to have a birthday party. And I just don't want a birthday party.
So, an American James Bond girl. First thing I thought of was Christmas Denise Richards. I'm also tempted to say Pam from License to Kill. Let's go for Denise Richards. Oh, James.
That is incorrect, James.
Oh, no.
I thought this was quite an obvious one.
Was it? Well, go on.
James, that is Halle Berry.
Oh,
as
my
Jinx.
God. Yeah. I can hear it. Yeah. Damn it.
All right, number 6.
Right, let's go for 6.
Oh, you're kidding me, yes. You know, I've had a long career, done a lot of work, and there is no question about it that being a Bond girl has been one of the most delightful experiences I've ever had, not only because of all the friendship I made, but there's been such a benefit coming from it because, you know, as an actor, you can work all your life and nobody remembers you.
Okay, I think I know this one. I think this is Maud Adams. Oh, James.
Yes, well done, James.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, it is. Maud Adams, who played Andrea Anders and Octopussy
Yes.
in 2 separate films. Well done. Clip number 7.
Okay.
It's taken me a while to navigate the actual page.
Yes.
And all the messages and the DMs and commenting and stuff like that. So that's what I focus on. And it's not, to me, it's more of a throwback to the old, when you join a fan site.
Wow. Phew. That is tough.
Any ideas?
I mentioned it before. I'm just going to go with it. Yeah, let's go for it. I'm just going to go with Carrie Lowell. Oh, James.
That is incorrect, James. That was Denise Richards.
Oh, it's Denise Richards. That sounds nothing like her.
Yeah, her voice has changed a little bit over the years.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Yep.
Damn it.
Denise Richards there, talking about her OnlyFans account, I believe.
Okay, right.
Okay, clip number 8.
But this specific one, because we all knew that it was going to be crazy. We all had to go through so much training, so much workout, so much physical stuff that it made us really cool about things because we were so prepared.
Okay. At first, I thought it might have been Olga Kurylenko, however you want to pronounce the surname. And then I was put off by it. And I've said her before. I'm going to say her again. Is it Carrie Nolan? No, I'm not thinking. Is it Isabella Scorpo, Natalia from GoldenEye?
Oh, James.
It is Isabella Scorupco.
God, come on.
Well done. To be honest, of all of them, I'm surprised you could recognise that voice, because to me that doesn't sound much like
No, I could imagine, yeah, that, it's been a long time since then. You might have, it's a bit older now.
Okay, clip number
Next one. 9.
Fabulous dialogue that was written for her, and a fabulous role that will be unforgettable that she played in, I think, about 6 or 7 Bond movies. But she definitely made a change by being a woman as James Bond's boss.
That's difficult because she's talking about Judi Dench here. And I don't know if that's throwing me off. One more time.
Fabulous dialogue that was written for her, and a fabulous role that will be unforgettable that she played in, I think, about 6 or 7 Bond movies.
It's Marion DeBeau. It's Marion DeBeau.
Oh, James.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, come on.
That is Mariam DeBeau, who played Cara Malavi in The Living Daylights.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay. Number 10.
Oh, yes. Go.
What are your tips for auditioning? I think I would say relax and have fun with it and go crazy. What's the secret to success? I think one just should believe in oneself and not be afraid to fail.
So I'm guessing that is the person who's answering the questions.
It's the person asking and answering.
What? It's the same person?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
They're reading questions out of a bowl.
Oh, reading the question and then she answered it. Oh, right, okay. Right, one more time.
What are your tips for auditioning? I think I would say relax and have fun with it and go crazy. What's the secret to success?
Right, I'm going to go with Olga Kurylenko.
Oh, James.
Correct. Well done, James.
Really? Oh, I wasn't 100% sure on that one.
Yep, you're doing all right, James. You're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So this is the last but one. If you could listen to clip number 11, please.
Okay.
And I walk into this whorehouse, which has been trashed. So there are sort of kind of bits of clay dildo everywhere. And I thought, this is rather nice. I could have a photograph taken and use it in my next birthday card.
Why can I hear Jonathan Ross more than I can have the person who's talking? It sounds like a Bond girl who's aged and now she's an older person and she's having an interview with Jonathan Ross. So it must be somebody who's still acting. I don't think it sounds like it, but I'm going to have to say it. Diana Rigg. I don't think it sounds like her.
Oh, James.
Well done, James.
Oh, it is? Wow. Oh, wow.
Yep, that is Diana Rigg, talking about Game of Thrones, I believe, which she was a significant role in.
Yes,
in her later years.
I'm still not seeing it.
Okay, well done, James.
Yeah. Okay, last one.
Yeah, let's see how you get on with number 12.
There was a telephone call one day, and they said, we'd like you to do a film test in Pinewood, and we are sending you a limousine.
Oh!
Right.
Nice.
So I didn't know when, where, or how, but anyway, I'm waiting for this limousine, and it never turned up.
It never turned up?
No.
You've ended it on a difficult one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Is there anything familiar in that at all?
Yeah, I feel like she's got a bit of an accent. She's talking about something that's happened in the past that's perhaps quite a long time ago. I'm gonna go with Carl Bouquet from who plays Melina in For Your Eyes Only. I don't think it is, but let's go for it. Oh, James.
No, it is not, unfortunately, James. So this is a bit of an unkind question to finish on, James. Because at the beginning I said I've used actresses who used their own voices.
Oh, for God's sake! You've used the voice. You've used the.
So there are
The
parts of
first
that where I
voiceover.
can hear very clearly certain different characters, but you could have said any number of characters here. You could have said Honey Rider, you could have said Domino Duval,
Yes.
Kissy Suzuki, or even Solitaire, partially. I'm not sure why
really?
she did part of that
Oh.
again. We're talking about, of course, Nikki van der Zyl, the post-syncing and dubbing artist brought in to revoice a whole bunch of characters. Those are just the lead Bond girls that she played. She also played Sylvia Trench, Jill Masterson, Corinne Dufour, which I can hear hints of in that, and Chu Mi, among others. In fact, in Doctor No, she plays everyone except 4 characters, I think. She voices everyone else. So, slightly unkind, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Nikki van der Zyl, who's a huge part of so many Bond films and goes unsung just due to the nature of their craft at the time, really. It was a very commonplace trend that doesn't happen so much nowadays. But there you go, James. Did you enjoy that quiz?
I did. I think I was set up to fail. I don't think I ever had a chance.
I have to say, James, you did remarkably well.
Yeah,
for such a
I would say
difficult
so. I think
quiz.
Yeah,
From my count, you got 7 out of 12.
Over half.
which is more than half.
Yes,
but
I'm
I
with
I
that.
will just check that with the text to speech lady.
James did indeed get 7 out of 12. Although he really should have got some of the obvious ones. A half-witted squirrel could have recognized Halle Berry. It could have spelled her first name out with nuts and used an actual berry at the end. Imagine that. But I digress. Well done, James. You are smarter than some, but not all rodents.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks for that. Yeah. Yeah, I'll remember that when I get them all right and see what you say after that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, James, for playing along. As always. And there you go. That was Games with James.
Games with James.
So there you have it. That was our best and worst Bond girl episode. That was fun, James. Don't know about you.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed being back in the hot seat to exchange some of our picks together.
Yes, yeah. And then the next one will be Moonraker, which I'm looking forward to seeing again. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yes. Our next episode will be Moonraker, so stay tuned. And in order to be alerted as to when and where that drops, subscribe to us on your preferred platform of choice. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and like and subscribe on all platforms. We should be anywhere you get your podcasts. Leave us a review, rating, or whatever you like. Bond Jamcast is the place to be.
Indeed.
So until next time, James.
Don't forget to spread that jam.
Spread that jam, everyone, and take care.
Cheerio.